In my opinion, Argonians are the most badass race in the Elder Scrolls. Not only are they freaking lizard people, which is awesome by itself, but they are actually more powerful than any of the other playable races in the games. And this isn't just my opinion or some, theoretical conjecture. This is a fact proven by the events of the Oblivion Crisis. Remember that whole Daedric invasion thing by Mehrunes Dagon if you've played the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion? Well, while the entire continent was being pillaged and slaughtered by Daedra, the Argonians kicked their ass in their home province of Black Marsh. To understand how they did this, you must first understand the Hist trees. They are believed to be the very first life form on Tamriel. It is believed that these Hist trees may actually be sentient beings, and they have some kind of symbiotic relationship with the Argonians. The Argonians worship the Hist trees, and they drink their sap. In fact, when an Argonian is born, he has to drink Hist sap to develop into a healthy adult. However, in the absence of a Hist tree, a young Argonian can drink from his mother's breast as a substitute, but it does seem like Hist sap is preferable. The Argonians value their connection to the Hist, and drinking Hist sap seems to be essential in maintaining it. In fact, some Argonians have such a strong connection to the Hist that the Hist seems to actually be able to communicate with them telepathically. The Angsallele in particular are a group of Argonians who were known to have this deep connection with the Hist. Not much is known of the Angsallele, but they are described as being parochial and nativistic. In other words, they're basically elite Argonian zealots. Alright, now that we're done with our little Argonian culture lesson, let me explain to you what happened during the Oblivion Crisis. You see, when the Oblivion gates started popping up all around Tamriel, Black Marsh was ready. But how could they have possibly seen this coming? Well, the Hist can actually see into the future, and so, having a chance to prepare, they warn the Angsallele and rally as many Argonians as possible back to Black Marsh. That being said, even with the full force of the rallied Argonians, the Daedra of Oblivion would still have proved a challenging opponent, which is why the Hist had another trick up their sleeve. They modified their sap so that when Argonians drank it, they were altered, made ready for war, and quote-unquote stronger, faster, able to endure terrible things. In other words, the Hist transformed the Argonians into super soldiers. When Mehrunes Dagon's Oblivion gates were opened in Black Marsh, the Daedra didn't stand a chance. In fact, and I quote, Argonians poured into Oblivion with such fury and might, Dagon's lieutenants had to close them. This is unheard of. There are no reports of anywhere else than Black Marsh of Daedra closing their own Oblivion gates. So yeah, there you go, why I think the Argonians are the most badass race in the Elder Scrolls. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to learn more about the lore, I recommend you read, the in-game books, as well as the actual published books by Greg Keyes, The Infernal City and Lord of Souls. They go into detail on what I just talked about in this video. The Argonians, the Angsallele, the Hist, and it also talks about different types of Hist and other Hist sort of hive minds, so to speak. It's really fascinating. I recommend you guys check it out, and otherwise, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.